What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome back to The Nerdy Narrative, a channel where I like to talk about all sorts of fun bookish related things in the science fiction, fantasy, horror, and manga genres. So today we're going to have a little discussion about my thoughts and feelings regarding a book that I finished recently and fell in love with. That would be Chaos Rising, which is the first book in the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy by Timothy Zahn. Not only is this my first Star Wars book, it's also the first book I've ever read by Timothy Zahn. He's an American science fiction fantasy writer who is most notably known for his Thrawn books, but he does have a few others that I'm definitely interested in because I'm curious to know if this was just his writing style for the Thrawn book or if this is his style throughout all of his other work. I really enjoyed it. It's something that I can get into really easily, apparently. Before we get deeper off into talking about this book, let me reiterate, all of the thoughts and opinions about this book are my own personal thoughts and opinions, completely 100% subjective to my little person and the experiences I've had in my life. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you listen. I may connect to a book in a way that you don't or you're not interested in. Please don't let that deter you from checking out this book if it's one you've had your eye on, because you might connect to it differently than I did or have a completely different perspective. If you're new to the channel, the first thing that I usually notice about a book is its appearance. It is shallow, but it is the truth. We're just gonna embrace it and talk about it. The dust jacket I thought was really cool when I first saw it. Of course, once I read the book and understood the imagery, I found it even more fascinating. Underneath is just a standard hardback covering, no big deal there. But what I love most, of course, is the attention to detail for the edges. Thrawn is blue, just in case you weren't aware. You know, it was just a very nice attention to detail to have the blue edges. I love the outline of the pages. I love that each page is also outlined in blue. That's so cool. I know I'm a weirdo, but I even really like the texture of the pages. It's just a little bit sturdier stuff than what I'm used to finding in my hardbacks. One factor that really added to my reading enjoyment of Chaos Rising is that I was able to do it as a buddy read with the Codex Cantina, Brad Proctor, and Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book. I'll have all of their channels linked in the description box down below. If you like what I do here, you will love what they have to offer. Let's start with the characters. There are 3 characters in Chaos Rising that I really loved. Of course, Thrawn, Thalius, and Arlani. They all had like 2 to 3 name changes, so that can get a little confusing at first. And let's not even go into their full 18-syllable names. There is literally no way I would ever be able to pronounce those. Normally when I read, if an author is really good at his craft, I can see what is happening in my mind. It's like a movie and I can hear them. When I read those full names, like my brain just blipped. It just skipped right over. Anytime their full name appeared, it just went bloop, skip. It's just, this is impossible. Of course, Thrawn was my favorite character. I felt that he was so cleverly written. He reminded me of Sherlock Holmes, the Benedict Cumberbatch one, where it's just so insanely intelligent, but then sometimes the common sense things slide right by. And for Thrawn, that was politics. And I thought it was so funny. While I've never considered myself to be really up on the take as far as determining politics and all of the ins and outs and why the different people do what they do, I absolutely loved how Thrawn was able to use art and culture and history of a people to determine their battle tactics. I felt that Timothy Zahn just wrote that really well. When he would explain Thrawn's thought process, it just made perfect sense. So the quick and dirty premise of the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, we're going to get Thrawn's origin story. We're going to follow his career and rise through the ranks of the Chiss. Chaos Rising begins when Thrawn is recruited and adopted into one of the 9 ruling families. It doesn't touch on much when he's actually in military school, but instead we pick up when he first becomes an officer and gets his first ship. I think it was an amazing start to this story. I cannot wait for the next one to come out. In fact, I'm ready to read the other 2 Thrawn trilogies out there while waiting on the next one and this one. I just enjoyed Timothy Zahn's writing style so much. It was very fast paced. My attention was definitely gotten in the first chapter. By chapter 2, I was ready to sit down and just binge this book out. There wasn't a whole lot of world building, but I don't think it needed it. I wouldn't imagine a whole lot of people would read it that doesn't have some knowledge about Star Wars, and for someone who's watched every movie countless times, as soon as I crack this one open, my brain is already visualizing the Star Wars universe. In my opinion, this one is one that belongs in your collection, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. But if you're someone who has never read anything Star Wars, or you're not sure if you're interested in that, I would caution you to rent it from your library first and see if it's something you're definitely going to be interested in. At the time of filming, Goodreads currently shows 900 ratings for Chaos Rising and a star rating average of 4.34. This girl gave it 5 stars. Everything I consider important for my personal enjoyment when reading a book, this book met or exceeded. There was no other option but to give it 5 stars. So now you've heard my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it. What about you? Have you read this book? Are you interested in reading it? Have you read the other Thrawn trilogies? What did you think about those? Or have you read Timothy Zahn before? Can you recommend to me some of his other works you think I might like based off this one? Hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video today, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you soon.